Good evening, everybody. It's Monday night, Share the Gift. Every Monday night we meet to share this incredible gift we've been given. We started several months ago as this began to come to the surface. For many of us, we've heard about it maybe for a few months, 3 or 4, maybe at the most. Some even as lucky as maybe 5 months. But overall, this is rather new. It's in the beginning stages, should I say. I don't want to confuse anybody. This is not a startup situation. This gift we're about to share with you tonight is something that's really been brewing for a long time. In fact, I think the real gift began back in the early 80s as Dr. Bill McAnally was looking at some things out of curiosity through his inquisitive scientific mind. So, I know that in 1981 he did find out some things. And that was that there was an incredible component that was found in aloe vera that, science had already known that there was something there, but, with many things that came into play, they were able to actually discover what that was. That being said, for years that had been talked about as one of the most noted healing components in nature. And making that discovery was quite groundbreaking. Although at the time it was rather laughed at, disbelieved, kind of ridiculed, but over time it became very well understood, and today it is now one of the most powerful, groundbreaking discoveries of all time. In fact, the science behind all of that is referred to as glycoscience. Is now published in the Library of Congress through the National Academies Press, and probably one of the most groundbreaking things that we've really seen as a whole in the areas of medical, scientific, and research focus for years. In fact, one of the greatest discoveries of the previous century. That being said, in 2005, Dr. Bill McAnally was continuing his research, and he, of course, understood how a cell began to function and how that structure worked and all of that. But, as he continued his research right on down into the interior workings of a cell, he knew that there was a schedule, if you will, that allowed cells to stay on track, stay healthy. And when that got interrupted, a lot of things began to happen. And, with his, again, inquisitive mind, he began to dig and begin to look. And he began to look, many, many thousands of years back. And he looked to determine, what kept them healthy and well and free from disease. And, he looked at the hunter-gatherers and what they were doing. And through anthropological studies, he was able to, not only through the things that have been dug up over the years, but begin to look deeply into DNA, et cetera, that told him what exactly they were eating. And when he began to tie that with science into the human body and determine really how it affected the body at a cell level, well, it was quite groundbreaking. And, that being said, that point of research that he began in 2005, if you just Googled that back then, and I know it was quite different than it is today, but that research, you probably got about 700 studies you could find, maybe, a few thousand, hits, so to speak, trying to even look into that science referred to as now apoptosis or apoptosis. It's just simply how the body stays on schedule at a cell level. Well, to date, that discovery, that focus, if you will, if you Google that term apoptosis, you're going to find over 18.6 million hits on that one word and several 100,000 studies related to the schedule that cells work under and how it relates in many, many areas, and the focus that modern science and medical science as a whole is putting on that one word and that science in the human body. It can get quite elaborate, and we don't intend to do that tonight, but the bottom line is it's how we live at the cell level, and that's what we refer to as the gift that was given to Dr. Bill McAnally. So, there's a lot of ways we can kind of put that out there, and sometimes it can get a little bit deep. It means a lot of things. It means, there's a huge opportunity at hand because nobody's ever done this. Dr. John Rollins, over 23 years at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office in the area of compounds and things of that nature. I'll tell you, he met Dr. McAnally long before all of us. And really when he first met Dr. McAnally and had a chance to review what he was doing, well, he'll tell you, the hair stood up on the back of his neck. So when you really begin to realize this gift we're talking about, that's probably what's going to happen to you too. And so, many of you may want to know all the science and the details. Again, you can begin your own research by simply typing that word in, apoptosis, or even typing in Dr. Bill McAnally and determining, just who you're dealing with here when you want to look at him as a professional and his history and things of that nature. You can check out Dr. John W. Rollins also and look at who you're dealing with there. And, there's some credibility that you just can't find accidentally. And so it is no accident that those gentlemen are doing what they do, and they're here. And one of them, as a matter of fact, is on the call with us here tonight. And so, when you look at that, now we look at what Aroga Life is all about. It's really the company, the opportunity we all are a part of to deliver this incredible gift. And later in this call, we'll refer to, what many of us have chosen to do, to become a wellness partner and be a part of sharing this gift with people we love and care about. But right now, I've got somebody on the call with me that I highly respect. Judy and I have known very closely for years. Marshall and his wife Brenda live, out in West Texas, and Marshall just has a common sense way about him. And although there's no doubt, and I'm sure you'll understand that he can understand the science, he knows it. But Marshall's not a scientist, so to speak. He's been able to take all this complication and digest it down into something real simple that people can understand. Because, when you get something like this, especially when you've got an opportunity with this type of science, et cetera, and all the factors behind it, anybody can take something simple and make it complicated, but, it's very rare when you can find somebody that can take something very, very complex and complicated and make it simple to understand. And we call that genius, and that's what Dr. Bill McAnally has done, but that's also, I believe, what Marshall Howard and his wife do, and what he's done and able to explain this to people. So I've asked Marshall to join me tonight on the call and let him just share a little bit about this gift, not too deeply, but just in his way of getting it across in common sense terms. Are you with me, Marshall?
I'm here, Jeff.
Let these people understand what you can share with them when only you do best.
Well, I appreciate it, Jeff. It's such an honor to work with you. For those that are on the call, I've known Jeff for many, many years, and Judy as well. They're great people. They have great hearts, and they're great leaders. And it's such an incredible honor to work side by side with them to bring Dr. McAnally's new discovery to the world. I fully believe that we are going to bless more people with this than anything else that's ever hit the marketplace because of what it is. And, Dr. McAnally, I've known him for over 20 years. I think he's the most brilliant man that I've ever met. The fact that he has 55 patents issued by the United States Patent Office. He holds 2 PhDs. He's got degrees in chemistry and math and physics and PhDs and toxicology and pharmacology. And I'm an ordinary guy from West Texas. I don't even have a college degree. But I've got an analytical mind, and I love listening to Dr. McAnally talk and explain this because he puts it into terms that an average guy can understand. And it just, when I heard it and understood it, it's like a light bulb went on in my mind, and I realized what he was onto. His earlier work had been focused on the complex mechanisms that occur outside the human cell, with the formation of glycoproteins and transferring biological information from cell to cell, cell to organ, and organ to system throughout the body. But he knew that there was a big piece of the puzzle missing. He knew that our bodies were incredibly made by God, that they had the specific instructions in the genes and the DNA for the cells to carry out functions and perform processes that were specifically designed to get us healthy and to keep us healthy. And he knew that something was missing somewhere that was interfering with that process because of the fact that, problems were so widespread with health with people all around the world. And so he started this research project 10 years ago to try to unlock that mystery, and he felt that it had to do with the interior, the much more complex, much more intricate processes within the interior of the human cell. So he knew he had his work cut out for him. But Dr. McAnally is such a brilliant man, and he has an innate ability to see things that other researchers tend to miss. He's such a curious person, and he looks at everything from every angle. And he started this process, and it led him to end up making the greatest discovery of his career. He realized that in order for our body to carry out those specific processes to get us healthy and to keep us healthy, that specific pathways had to be opened with individual triggers or keys that are specific nutritional components, nutritional chemicals that are used to open those pathways in order for the cell to carry out the instructions given to it in the genes and the DNA to perform those specific functions. For instance, there are several different functions. It's very, very complex. We won't get into the deep science. But some of the basic things that even an average guy like me can understand is that the cell, first it has to shut off replication to check the cell, to put it into diagnostic mode. And these specific nutritional triggers have to be present to open that pathway for that to be accomplished. The cell goes into diagnostic mode, and it checks every specific function within the cell to make sure everything is working properly. And if it is, then another trigger has to be, or another switch has to be flipped, so to speak, in order to allow that cell to go ahead and start replicating and make more healthy cells. But if it finds a problem, then another switch has to be flipped in order for the cell to go into repair mode so that it can begin to attempt to repair the damage within that cell. And then once it gets it repaired, assuming that it's able to, then it allows that cell again to switch on the ability to replicate and make more healthy cells. But if it cannot repair that damage, then another switch has to be flipped. Or if the cell has reached its useful age, there's two things there. Either if the body cannot repair the damage to the cell, or if the cell has reached its maximum useful age and needs to be replaced with a young, new, healthy cell, then it triggers this process of cellular apoptosis where the cell self-digests itself and harvests all the beneficial components within the cell to use as a raw material to make a new healthy cell with, and then it allows that to replicate. So all these processes have to go through these specific pathways, and these nutritional components are almost like keys. It's like every pathway is a locked door, to put it into an analogy that an average guy like me can understand. It's like a locked door that has multiple locks, and you have to have all the specific keys for each one of those locks in order for that doorway to open, for the pathway to open, for the cell to perform that function. And the problem, he realized, is that we do not get those specific nutritional keys that are necessary to open those pathways from the foods that we eat. They've been gradually eliminated from our diet, and he searched the world over to find those to put the products together. He spent 10 years identifying every specific nutritional component needed for every different type of cell in the body to formulate these products and to provide all the keys that are necessary. And then he designed the products. The capsules, for instance, are completely hand-packed. Other nutritional supplements in the marketplace are made by 3 large companies in the United States that use high-speed encapsulating machines to make them, and they have to use fillers and flow agents and binding agents in order to make them, and what ends up happening is we only get anywhere from 5 to maybe 10% of the actual volume of each capsule is active component. The rest of it is fillers and flow agents. And so Dr. McAnally didn't want that at all. He actually has these products completely hand-packed, so they're 100% active whole food components, absolutely no fillers, no flow agents, so that we can trust we're getting exactly what's on that label every single time in an amount that's effective, and that's the key, to provide enough to provide all the keys necessary to open those pathways. And that's why I believe that so many people can actually feel a difference and feel the products begin to work in their body in such an incredibly short period of time compared to any other nutritional program that I've ever tried myself in the past. It's just incredible. And so, I just, fully believe that what he's done here has the power to change more lives than anything else that's ever come along in the past. I mean, he's filed the patents to protect the discovery. He's assembled an incredible team of research specialists, marketing experts, professionals in every category to help him launch this new company And let's face it, folks, as we go out there in the world, every single person we run into, their top two concerns for everyone around us is their health and their finances. And now, with what we have here, we have a way to impact both of those in a more powerful way than we've ever had access to before. So, in my opinion, timing will never be better because the company just launched 7 days ago. We all have the chance to be in on the ground floor, the very beginning of an amazing new discovery that's destined, I believe, to make a dramatic difference in people's lives all around the world. So, it's also an awesome responsibility. Once you know that something like this has come along that has the power to change people's lives, to improve their quality of life or to improve their finances, whatever it is that they may need, I believe we just have an obligation to go out and share it with people. And the rewards of doing that, not just on the financial side, but on the side where you feel in your heart that you know you've made a difference in someone's life and made a change in someone's life, you just can't put a price tag on how it makes you feel. It's something we can be honored and be proud to be a part of and to represent. And as this thing moves forward, I think in the years to come, to be in at the very beginning like this is just like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And so that's how I feel, Jeff. You can tell I feel strongly about it, and I'll pass the ball back to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, Marshall. And I think everybody just heard what I heard, and that's what I meant. You have an incredible ability, a genius, if you will, to take something complicated and just put it out here where we can really get it. So thank you, Marshall. And I just appreciate everything you've done personally to help us. Judy and I have watched you and followed you for years, and what an honor to stand side by side with you in what we're attempting to accomplish here as we lean forward with this beginning. So thank you. I've got a friend of mine on the call, and, Marshall, you said responsibility. And I guess that really sums it up, at least where this person's concerned. He's a very close friend of mine. Matter of fact, a number of years ago, probably over 15 or 16 now, he understood and learned about Dr. Bill McAnally, and he had some great concerns with his wife. Galen and his wife, Paula, live in the Claremore area, Verdigris to be exact, which is between Claremore and Tulsa, Oklahoma, a little bit north and somewhat east. And, as a minister, he spends time serving people consistently around the clock. Anybody that knows a minister, they know how hard they work to the benefit of other people. And that being said, he's also in the area of pastoral care with one of the largest providers of terminal illness care, hospice. And, he's there for people in the greatest times of need, for those around and those involved. And, so here's a man who's truly, truly dedicated to the service of people and really a calling that is much greater than all of us. And so I'm honored to have Galen Lassiter on the call with me tonight. And because when it comes to becoming a wellness partner, that responsibility, if you will, Galen no doubt understands the value of what apoptosis means, what Dr. Bill McAnally knows and understands, and how that's impacted his life. But again, that responsibility, that means everything to Galen because he's given his life to the service of people. So, Galen, can you elaborate a little bit as to why you became a wellness partner and why you feel this can better complement everything you do as a professional?
Yeah, yes, Jeff. Thank you for the opportunity just to talk about this. And let me say to everyone on the call tonight, we've been privileged to hear from the two top leaders with this new discovery of Dr. McAnally's. And I tell you, we could not be in a better position from that perspective than with the two gentlemen you've heard tonight. Marshall and Jeff have been leaders of people and on point with helping people for many years. And it's just an honor to be on a call with them. Actually, Jeff's been 17 years ago this month that we were actually introduced and helped to understand the impact of Dr. McAnally's first discovery. And that was quite an eye-opener, to say the least, when we began to see what was going on here. First time I had ever been introduced to the term nutritional technology. I knew a little bit about nutrition, vitamins and minerals and that kind of thing, but nutritional technology was new terminology to me, and so I had to do some research, some digging, and make sure I understood what was going on here. But when we saw what Dr. McAnally had and the challenges that we were faced with, it was easy to make that decision to embrace that, and and not only for our own selves, but for our friends, our family, and even those that we didn't even know. And you have, both of you have alluded to the term responsibility. And that's what we ultimately came to realize, that we had an incredible responsibility here to get this out to people, as many people as we could. And it was at that point, Jeff, that we decided that we needed to look at what we were being told as the method of getting this out to people, and that method was networking. I soon realized there was no way for me to get to as many people as I'd like to get to with this without the networking model to make it work. And I was reluctant, to be honest with you, because I heard a lot of negative stuff, had one little bad experience myself with some of that, and I thought, at first I wasn't sure I wanted to do it. But thank God for Jeff's leadership at that point to kind of push us along and pull us along in some cases, and lead us down the road of understanding the power of networking. And what I discovered was a way that of getting a nutritional technology, something that could make a difference in people's lives, getting it out not to just a few, but to the masses. And we found very quickly how you could, with just a few people, actually, when it boiled down to the bottom line, about 5 people. And it was incredible how those 5 people ultimately touched thousands of people's lives with Dr. McAnally's first discovery. So needless to say, when we found out about this and we began to understand a little bit more about it, and Marshall does a marvelous job of putting this into layman's terms where we can all get it, and I appreciate that tonight so much. But when I saw that, it was overwhelming again. It really was overwhelming. But I knew this much. When I saw it, I realized that this was going to be more impactful, way more impactful than Dr. McAnally's first discovery. I realized this was going to really revolutionize some things from the standpoint of people's wellness. And I was ready to engage again at the highest level with the networking model, because I knew what had happened the first time, and I knew with this and with the integrity of this new technology and the impact it was going to have, I knew that the networking model would be the key. And already, though Marshall has just said we're just beginning, it astounds me again at the number of people that have already been touched through this networking model, to bring them to this new discovery that Dr. McAnally is bringing to all of us. And I know that what are tens now and hundreds now are going to turn into thousands of people in the process here. So to me, the technology, which is the driver of everything, because that's what makes the difference in people's lives, and everything follows that. And I'm glad that this company has decided to set up a networking model that will reward people for sharing this with other people so that they can get their products paid for and literally do whatever they want to do with it. I think that's the great thing about this. They can do whatever they want to do with it. If they want to spend part of their time doing it, or if they want to spend all of their time doing this. It's a model that will reward people on such a level that not only will they help people with their wellness and the quality of life, but they can help them get that paid for and really do whatever they would like to do. And so, to me, the whole thing, the word that stands above the technology and the networking model is the word integrity. And I want to tell you, if I'm going to put my life and my name on something just as Marshall and Jeff have done, I want it to have integrity. And I can tell you from Dr. McAnally on down, this thing is loaded with integrity. So you never have to be ashamed to be a part of this. And the only thing that we're looking for is some people who want to be wellness partners and partner up with us to share this with other people, as Marshall said and Jeff has alluded to, all over the globe. So what a privilege and responsibility we have tonight to do that. Thank you for letting me share, Jeff. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Galen. I really appreciate what you do, not only as a profession, but in just how you've reached out to help people in the past due to that feeling of responsibility, but also currently. And, you mentioned that word integrity, and we've heard several words tonight. We heard apoptosis. You've heard gift. You've heard Dr. Bill McAnally. Those are just simple words you can write down. You can Google. You can also Google the word laminin, because that's right down at the heart of all of this. And you'd be quite astounded what you find there also. Just know that that's where Dr. Bill McAnally is headed. It's funny how not only is he headed there, that's also what he follows. So you'll understand that. Just Google it. Responsibility, I don't think you need to Google that. I think that's something we feel when we hear something that's important. Maybe to some degree we might have to experience that. We encourage you to do that. So get with the person that shared this with you, that you listen in tonight, and really get started. Just consume the products. They're very self-identifying, no complicated way to understand where to start or what to do. We just encourage you to start with all four, the core four as we refer to it. If you choose to become a wellness partner and feel that responsibility that you heard, then, well, that's very simple also. Again, get back with the person that shared this with you. You can simply go to the site and click on join, and no matter which area you choose as a customer or to become a wellness partner, just simply use the person who referred you as the way to get started, because everybody comes through somebody. You must be introduced. And we've said it many times, sometimes if you don't feel that responsibility yet, that's okay. When you do, we just encourage you to step up and reach out and touch people. It's important. Integrity, on the other hand, I don't think we need to Google that either. That's something that we all know. Maybe, it just means everything to us, because no matter what we do for a living, we want to be sure we're, well, as my dad used to say, hanging with the right crowd, following people with integrity, doing things that are correct and, yes, right. So integrity means a lot. And when you look at Dr. Bill McAnally, you look at, Aroga Life as a whole, you look at those that are involved that see this as a responsibility and become wellness partners. You'll see professions from our medical professionals, pastors, as you just heard Galen Lassiter speak, and, many others that are involved in many, many areas of professions that they have a passion for. Somebody said one time, don't look at what you're good at and try and make money doing it. Find something you're passionate about and get good at it. Well, if you have a passion for helping people, we'll help you get good at it. So thank you for joining us tonight. Every Monday night we meet to share the gift. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night, same phone number, same time frame, 8 o'clock Central Time. There'll be another call with Mark Johnson, Rick Moffitt, and his team that begin to share another perspective of the gift that was given to Dr. Bill McAnally. Stay tuned. There will not be a call this Wednesday night. That will soon come, and stay tuned for that notice. You can go to arogaforhope.com and put your hands on many things that will assist you to share this gift and even understand it even more. If you have a question, just simply click on Contact, and you can ask Judy and I a question and send it in, and we'll do the best we can to either pass it on to somebody that can get the right answer if we don't have it, or we'll answer it just as soon as we can to get you the information you want. And just stay tuned to your own personal website as it becomes more and more completed, and everything that is available to you as a wellness partner. And again, if you're just checking this out and examining what's going on, we just encourage you, for the most part, start with the products, because above anything else, that will tell the truth better than anything. So bless you. Thank you for joining us, and good night, everybody.
Goodbye.
Thank you for joining us, and good night, everybody.